This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. A Tasmanian man has broken down speaking about the pain he's enduring while waiting to have much needed back surgery. Theo Stolp has been waiting 375 days for surgery, which he should have had within 90 days. And the Tasmanian Health Service is still yet to give him a surgery date.
For 7 years, Theo Stolp has been suffering from back pain. He has morphine each day to ease the agony, but his mobility is getting worse.
How does it feel, Theo, that you don't have a date yet for this surgery?
Well, not good.
Mr Stolp needs 3 discs in his lower back removed and also suffers severe neck pain. He's been waiting more than a year for clinically recommended surgery, an operation he believes could make a huge difference.
I can have my life back. I can go and drive my car. I can go and do things. I'm not used to sitting around doing nothing.
We are unfortunately hearing many stories from many Tasmanians, thousands of them indeed, who are waiting beyond clinically recommended timeframes to access their surgery here in Tasmania.
Mr Stolp's struggle was initially highlighted during the state election campaign. Now, with the Tasmanian budget 1 week away, the opposition is calling for urgent action.
The fact that the government still has failed to provide access to this service is an indictment on Minister Michael Ferguson.
The Health Minister says an additional $20 million for elective surgery will be included in next Thursday's budget for the 2018-19 financial year. He says that's aimed at reducing waiting times, which blew out under the previous Labor Green government. But Ms White says an extra $20 million isn't enough.
Health is the #1 priority for most Tasmanians. We've seen a housing crisis continue to develop, especially in some of our urban centres. We need money to be invested in supporting people to access the sort of care that they deserve.
Monika Dadson at Southern Cross News.
Tasmania is being named as an invaluable player in the future of the nation's renewable electricity market. A new report backs up claims the state can power the nation, but questions remain over exactly how it will be done.
Tasmania is staking its claim as a renewable energy giant of the future. A new national report released today reaffirming Tasmania is well placed to significantly increase its hydro and wind generation and produce enough energy to send to the mainland, making Tasmania a viable and cost-effective option for supporting Australia's future energy needs.
Tasmania's renewable resources currently and future can be a cost-effective source of dispatchable renewable supply to the mainland.
Renewable energy groups welcoming the report, but a timeframe and costings for any future projects are yet to be confirmed.
It's too early to say. There's a lot of work to be done in terms of exactly those arrangements, but we have ongoing discussions, very positive discussions with the federal government.
The Battery of the Nation report modelling several energy scenarios, including Tasmania one day being home to 5 Bass Strait energy interconnectors. Under the scenario, the cable site would remain at Georgetown, as well as 2 cables each from Sheffield and Port Latter. This comes despite 2 separate failures of Tasmania's one cable in recent years.
What we need to have is on-island investment in renewable energy technology to provide certainty of energy for all Tasmanians. Only then does the Basslink interconnect to business case stack up.
The undersea cable itself can be reliable into the future, given the recommendations that our independent expert DNV put forward to us 6 months ago.
The report comes after Hydro Tasmania yesterday identified 14 high-potential pumped energy storage sites across the state. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
A data security breach, which may have compromised the details of thousands of Tasmanians, is prompting warnings to remain vigilant online. The Page Up website, used by the likes of the state government and the University of Tasmania, has reported unusual activity on its systems, with local experts warning our state is not immune.
A national issue potentially affecting thousands of Tasmanians. If you've applied for a job within the likes of the state government or the university, your details such as email or tax file number could be vulnerable.
Any attempts to take people's personal details and utilise them in a criminal manner is always of concern.
The different malicious actions you can take with that information are numerous.
It was determined late yesterday the PageUp website, which powers recruitment, was experiencing suspicious activity, both suspending services with the site immediately, while investigations continue into its exact impact.
It's a very important issue, and all necessary measures have been and will continue to be taken to ensure that those breaches do not occur.
Across the country, the breach has impacted companies such as Telstra, Red Cross and Medibank. A reminder to always take precautions online, such as restricting sharing personal details.
These type of cyber attacks is the new battlefront. And not as just companies, but also individuals need to realise that and work really hard to keep their personal data, their credit card details, their banking details offline as much as possible.
Experts warning this is only the tip of the iceberg and that Tasmania isn't immune to global threats.
The malicious actors that have conducted this attack don't really care where we live or where we're from. If the data is of value, they'll go after it.
A national class action against PageUp is under consideration. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Minor changes have been made to Tasmania's short-stay accommodation policy, but the Housing Minister is facing criticism. The changes do not go far enough. The new rules include a reduction in permitted floor areas and changes to strata schemes. The changes affect rooms for rent within investment properties and homes with more than 4 rooms open to bookings. Labor and the Greens say the government is tinkering around the edges while Tasmania remains in a housing crisis. St Helens is preparing for its largest tourism boom in recent years after successfully securing one of the country's biggest music festivals, the annual One Night Stand. The free event typically attracts more than 10,000 people and injects millions into the local economy.
When Christy Chappell first applied to have the festival held in her hometown, she never expected it would actually happen.
Oh, I was so excited this morning when I got the phone call. I had tears. I was beside myself, and my daughter was in the room, and she was very excited as well. So we're just ecstatic, just overwhelmingly excited, but just to think what's going to happen for the area.
The St Helens mother of 2 is an avid festival goer and says the town currently has a lack of live music options.
And I just did it one afternoon. I thought it's great. It'd be great for the area. You know, we don't get live music down here. I thought, why not? There's nothing to lose.
The annual One Night Stand festival is always staged in a regional town, bringing popular music acts like Vance Joy and Peking Duck to an audience which would normally miss out. This year's edition in September will be the first time it's come to Tasmania. Last year it was held in Queensland's Mount Isa and injected $3 million into the local economy. That's something the Mayor hopes will be repeated.
Rural, regional, little communities can punch above their weight, and we're going to make our community proud.
And while it may not look the part now, the footy ground will be centre stage to all the action, even if there's a final on.
It's such a huge opportunity for the community that we know locally when we band together, we'll just find a solution and make it all happen, because it's just too good an opportunity for not only the football club but youth of the community.
This will be the biggest event St Helens has hosted in recent memory, with local businesses already gearing up for a monster weekend. Like this cafe, which will need an extra coffee machine and more staff.
There'll be lineups out to the street in most locations with people just getting their caffeine fix before they head out to the event. So it'll be a pretty intense few hours, I would say.
Saw it all over Facebook and everyone's just sharing it, and everyone's really positive about what it can do for St Helens.
And accommodation is booking fast, with dozens of providers already sold out.
Look, this is going to be a huge economic shot in the arm for Breaker Day. In that time of the year, going out of winter into spring, it's going to be an amazing economic benefit to our community.
I think you're possibly Tassie's coolest mum today.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what I cook for tea. I mightn't be so cool then.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
A new Dark Mofo exhibition is shining a light on what life can really be like behind bars. The show, a collaboration between local artists and Risdon prison inmates.
The humble potato front and centre at Dark Mofo. Months in the making, 4 Tasmanian artists pairing with Risdon prison inmates to create works inspired by life on the inside.
I got a lot from working with Christy and trying to understand her experience of what it must be like to be removed from your life and put into this other space that I could come and go from freely.
The Pink Palace exhibition shedding light on just how different prison life can be. Inmates living in an environment where potatoes can become as important as currency, not being readily available within prison walls.
I was thinking about how these very cheap, simple, common foodstuffs take on a different value when you just can't have them.
We wanted to focus on what the experience was or is like for inmates in incarceration, so the passing of time is sort of the main thing that we were focusing on as a group.
The exhibition not just about the work, the artists forming close connections along the way.
This is a way for some inmates to have some kind of voice to share their experiences and maybe bring it out of that sort of place that's further away from our daily lives and into our kind of centre.
The exhibition will open to the public throughout Dark Mofo. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
An 18-year-old motorcyclist has a suspected broken collarbone following a crash in Kings Meadows earlier today. The rider was trapped under an SUV for a short period before being transported to the Launceston General Hospital in a stable condition. Police say the motorcyclist was attempting to overtake the car as both vehicles were turning from Bond Street into Ernest Street.
At this stage, the investigation is in its very early stages, but it appears from witness accounts and also the evidence that we're looking at, it appears that inattention is a contributing factor.
The driver of the SUV was uninjured but taken to hospital as a precaution. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to contact police. A popular pizza shop set alight in an arson attack last year has reopened. Dino's Pizza in Claremont went up in flames last October, making for horrific scenes for the business owner. But today was full of emotion as the pizza ovens were turned on once again. A plain yellow wall in the shop, soon to be turned into a wall of remembrance, thanking those who've helped Dino's get back on its feet.
Dino Pizza is an institutional icon here in Claremont. And the support that rallied in the direct aftermath of the arson was phenomenal.
Phone orders were coming through before the shop even opened its doors. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. Australian shares have closed higher for a second consecutive day, led by the big miners and energy stocks. The ASX 200 index has risen by 32.3 points. And just a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 76.53 US cents and 108.57 New Zealand cents.
With the Kingborough Tigers staring down the barrel of their worst TSL season to date, their coach has come out firing today, while North Hobart have been forced to scrounge around for numbers ahead of one of the toughest road trips in Tasmanian footy.
Normally bringing a touch of humour, the Kingborough coach wasn't in the mood for jokes today.
Like, you clearly haven't watched the game because you've said there to Paul that you're expecting Glenorchy to get a confidence-boosting win this week. So maybe you've got to do a little bit more, mate.
But you guys haven't won a game since round one.
Exactly. What's your point?
I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Exactly. We've lost 7 games in a row. Glenorchy have lost four games in a row.
Coming home strong against the Bombers in the round 9 clash, Bomella says he was highly impressed with the effort, but seemed clearly unimpressed with today's line of questioning.
We can try and kick some goals or find a big forward that we're lacking, because Tom hasn't been on footyrecruits.com yet for me and found one for us yet, Coops. But, Heath Thompson did kick 3 goals against North Lonnie.
Despite problems of his own following a 10-goal hiding against the reigning premiers, the Pies coach was a bit less defensive than his colleague as they chased their first win since Anzac Day.
As a coach, you've got to keep a really close eye on the small picture because that adds up. But
if you let that distract you from the big picture, you're in the wrong business.
With more than 20 players unavailable due to injury or school football commitments, North Hobart may be forced to name club record holder Robbie Devine as a shock inclusion to the Mercury Cup side.
We need more players, like obviously not quite as old as him, but we need more people like that at TSL level.
The D's face their most daunting challenge to date at UTAS Stadium this Saturday against the rampant North Launceston outfit, while the former Melbourne Demons season remains up in the air, still struggling to pass a fitness test for his troublesome knee.
Once you fail it, you have to have a couple of weeks in between, and unfortunately I keep failing it at the moment, so I'm not real sure when I'll be able to play.
Following a tough season both on and off the court, the Launceston Tornadoes are welcoming the mid-season break, but with the side still well and truly in the finals mix, that elusive Seabull Championship is never far from their mind.
New coach, new look squad and an injury-interrupted season for star Lauren Mansfield. 6th place on the Seabull ladder isn't a bad result, according to the Torns' leading scorer.
Yeah, it's been really good. We were off to a little bit of a rocky start, but I think as it's gone on, we've progressed as a team.
With Nunawading breaking their 6-game win streak on the road last weekend, the Torns will use the mid-season break to recharge before tackling the back end of the season head-on and hopefully at full strength.
I think we've done well to get to where we are now. I do think we can still push for a top 4 spot come finals.
To netball, and Kingston will be out to emulate their early season win over the Cavaliers in Launceston on Saturday before taking on an unbeaten Northern Hawks on Sunday. Easier said than done, with their northern rivals set to welcome back A&L players Shelby Miller and Danny Pickett for the clashes.
When we're coming up against 2 of the teams who are sitting in the top 3, it does give us a really good indication of where our training intensity and our level of skill is with the competition.
Always a tough game against Kingston, so it's one of those ones that you never quite know.
And finally in sport, Tasmania's future golf stars have had a chance to hone their skills today with the Rosny Park Golf Club partnering with the Glenorchy YMCA for a 5-week junior golf program designed to teach the youngsters everything from the art of hitting a big drive to keeping a cool head on the putting green. Look at that, Joe. They're already doing better than I can on the golf course too.
Indeed.
Good evening. Temperatures up to 5 above average today and a dead heat for the Big Four, 17 degrees across the population centres. A few light isolated showers across the central and north, but no significant rain. Flinders Island, St Helens and Friendly Beaches all on our top of 18 degrees. Strawn and Grove 17, King Island, Low Head and Ouse 16 degrees, Smithton 15, the lowest overnight -4 at Lake Leak. The wind started picking up from the northwest today, bringing the cloud in from that direction across the state, swirling in that airspeed. And the large band of unorganised cloud is covering a good portion of the southeast. High cloud with a jet stream streaks across central WA, low cloud to the south and a bit more off New South Wales and Queensland. Plenty happening. Tomorrow a trough moves over Tasmania. The high over the Tasman Sea extends a ridge to Queensland. Several troughs over the western half of the nation. And you can probably feel and see that the winds are gathering pace. Northwesterlies at 25 to 35 knots on the way, shifting westerly tomorrow and swells to 4 metres in the south. A severe weather warning for the eastern parts of Tasmania for damaging winds, a gale warning from southeast Cape to Low Rocky Point and from Stanley to Wineglass Bay, strong wind warning for remaining waters and a small craft wind for the lakes, and a flood watch for northern river basins is out there as well. And for Hobart, a windy day as you'd expect, a top tomorrow of 16 with a shower or 2, easing later, 15 the high for Huonville, 17 the top for Campania with a shower or 2. Launceston, showers clearing, winds easing after a blowy night tonight, 15 the top, 15 also for Devonport and 14 for Georgetown. Burnie, similar sort of forecast, a top of 15 degrees tomorrow, 15 for Strawn with a showery day with winds easing later, 15 the top for Wynyard. And for the east, showers clearing, winds easing, but as we mentioned, it's going to be very blowy overnight and first thing in the morning. 15 for St Helens, Swansea and Port Arthur, 16 degrees. On Saturday, fine apart from showers over the west and far south, decreasing in the afternoon. Fine on Sunday after some morning fog and frost. Fine and partly cloudy on Monday, the chance of a shower over the northwest. Rain easing from Adelaide and some light rain forecast for Melbourne tomorrow. Wet weather also on the way for Canberra and Sydney, sunny over the Alice and Darwin. Cloudy at the moment, 15 degrees in Hobart, Launceston 15 as well, and Devonport 15 degrees. And as we know, Joe, June is Give Me 5 for Kids Month, and I'm looking forward to the telethon later in the month. But right now, there's some fundraising happening already. I was in Woolworths today, dropped a few dollars in, and I'll even put a coin in for you.
Oh, how very generous of you, Murph. Thank you very much.